The loudest revenge isn't screamed. It's never spoken at all. Lives in the space between breaths. In the way a room freezes when one person walks in and no one knows why. It's not in threats, not in posts, not in drama. It's in the way silence starts to feel like a threat. Heavy, patient, full of teeth. That's when you know the game changed. That's when you know the outlaw isn't coming, because he never left. He just stopped needing permission to be felt. They thought silence meant defeat, thought vanishing meant you broke. But you didn't break. You recalibrated. You didn't disappear. You went subterranean, built tunnels under their feet while they danced on the surface, drunk on their own lies. And when they finally noticed the ground shifting, it was too late. The foundation was already yours. You didn't storm the castle. You became the earthquake. You were never the chaos. You were the cause of it. And the funniest part, they gave you the role. Every betrayal, every fake handshake, every backroom whisper. They handed you the tools like you were some dumb laborer. But you weren't building a house. You were building a tomb. And every lie they told, that was another brick. Every stab in the back, a signature on the deed. They thought they were burying you. Please. You made the dirt sign a lease. Every shovel they threw was just landscaping for your empire. You didn't fight fire with fire. You set the whole damn forest on fire and walked out wearing its ashes like a suit. While they scrambled for clout, you studied silence. While they begged for attention, you mastered absence. You learned that the most dangerous thing in the world isn't rage. It's calm with a spine of steel. It's a man who's already seen the ending and isn't even sweating. That's what terrifies them. Not the idea of what you could do, but the fact that you don't have to. That your mere existence is enough to make liars sweat and snakes stutter. That's power, not the kind you flex. The kind that flexes. You didn't come back stronger. You came back different, cold, surgical, unreachable. They called you reckless once, unstable, a loose cannon. Now, they don't call you anything. They just pause when your name floats into a conversation, like someone just whispered a curse in a holy place. Their voices drop. Their eyes dart. Their hands get shaky. That's not respect. That's recognition. They see you now for what you are. Not a man, but a consequence. And you didn't earn it by fighting. You earned it by not. No clapbacks, no drama, no begging for a seat at the table. You just vanished, leveled up in the shadows, and came back with a smirk that says, "Go ahead, try me. Just make sure your will is updated." That's the look that breaks them. Not anger, not yelling, just calm. Absolute, unshakable calm. Because anger they can handle. Calm means you've already won. Calm means you're not reacting, you're executing. You don't need karma to do the work. You are karma, with better posture and a sharper tongue. They thought you'd explode when they baited you. Thought you'd chase validation like a starving dog. But you didn't. You smiled. You nodded. You walked away. And in that silence you signed their sentence. Because the most dangerous people aren't the ones who scream. They're the ones who listen. And you You listened to every lie, memorized every betrayal, filed every fake smile under future receipts. And now, you don't even need to collect. The debt pays itself in guilt. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be. And being you, that's enough to make their confidence bleed out slow. They'll change cities, switch crews, reinvent themselves. But your shadow travels light. It's in their dreams, in the back of their throat, when someone says your name, in the way their heart skips when a door creaks at 3 a.m. You're not haunting them. You're haunting the idea of you. And that's worse, because you can't run from a ghost that smiles. They still try, of course. The petty setups, the weak shots, the fake love disguised as opportunity. It's comedy now. You watch them fumble like amateurs on a stage, with no script, while you sit front row, sipping silence like vintage wine, laughing in the dark because you don't need to react. You've become inevitable. That's the outlaw move. Discipline dressed as danger. Restraint wrapped in chaos. You don't post. You don't flex. You don't chase an audience. You just exist. And existing at your level, that's a threat all by itself. They fear the silence more than the storm, because at least the storm announces itself. You glide in quiet and leave wreckage behind without ever raising your hand. And the joke is on them. They thought you were the punchline. Now you're the whole damn script. They thought you were reckless, unstable, a psycho with no plan. Now they realize every move was mapped, every silence was strategy, every exit was execution. You didn't survive the fire. You redecorated hell. Curtains of silence, floors paved in patience, mirrors that only reflect liars. Hell doesn't even look the same after you. And people, they're terrified. Not of what you did, but of what you didn't. You didn't clap back. You didn't explode. You didn't beg. You vanished. You returned. You won, without even swinging. That's not revenge. That's divine comedy. You don't need to prove anything. You've already proven it by not playing their game, and winning anyway. They wrote you off. Now they can't stop writing about you. Blogs, group chats, smoke signals. Your name is the headline they swore would never exist. And you don't even pay attention. Why would you? You're too busy being the story while they're stuck as footnotes nobody reads. It's hilarious watching them crack under the weight of their own lies. Can't keep their stories straight. Can't look each other in the eye. Can't even say your name without choking like it's poison. And you just smirk, maybe chuckle. Let them drown in the rumors they once served like champagne. They thought you'd fight loud, thought you'd beg for a stage. Instead, you walked off the set, built your own empire, and came back with receipts they can't dispute. They still run their mouths, but it's pathetic now, like clowns tripping over their own shoes. Every move they make is desperation in a designer suit. And the killer? You don't lift a finger. You don't waste energy on people already buried in their own nonsense. You sit in silence, sipping like a king, while karma works as your unpaid intern. That's the outlaw's punchline. Your enemies writing their own obituaries. And you're just there to witness it. Survival wasn't enough. You had to make it look good. And that's what burns them. That you came back sharper, calmer, colder, and funnier than ever. You turned heartbreak into strategy, betrayal into blueprint, chaos into choreography. Now every time they see you, every time your name drops, they don't know whether to bow, hide, or start praying. But you don't care. You're already gone, moving above them, not among them, outlaw in silence, psycho with purpose, savage with style, and the final laugh. Because the funniest part, you didn't even have to swing. They wrote the script of their own collapse, and you just let them perform it. Every lie, every betrayal, every setup became bricks in the cage they built with their own hands. And while they sweat in that prison, you're already free, already untouchable, already folklore. That's the outlaw's elegance. Restraint with a grin. Patience turned into punishment. You don't haunt them because of what you said. You haunt them because of what you didn't. Silence became your punchline, and it's the loudest laugh in the world, echoing in their guilty heads like a comedy they can't turn off. So let them twitch, let them choke on their own words, let them whisper your name like it's taboo. You don't chase closure. You are the closure. You don't seek validation. You became the standard. And you don't ask for respect. You taught them the price of disrespect. And the bill came with interest. Now you glide, calm, sharp, elevated, savage as hell, with a smile that says, I don't need to touch you to break you. My silence already did the job. Movies end when the credits roll. Yours doesn't, because you didn't just close a chapter. You burned the whole book and walked away carrying the ashes like currency. Now everywhere they go, they trip over the ghost of you. Every room feels colder. Every mirror shows a flash of your smirk. You don't need to be there in flesh. You're haunting them in absence. That's the sequel nobody asked for, but everybody feels. The outlaw doesn't retire. The psycho doesn't clock out. You became folklore stitched into the air. Your silence, the soundtrack to their downfall, looping endlessly, mocking them every time they think it's over. But it's never over, because presence like yours doesn't fade. It multiplies. And isn't that the real comedy? They thought beating you meant forgetting you, but all they did was brand themselves with your shadow. You're not chasing them, not checking, not even thinking about them. But they can't stop orbiting the memory of you. That's power, that's control, that's legacy disguised as laughter. While they fumble for explanations, you're already gone, already evolved, already higher. You don't move among mortals anymore. You move like a myth, untouchable, unpredictable, unforgettable. And every nervous laugh, every shaky glance over the shoulder, proof the story didn't end when you walked away. It only grew sharper, darker, funnier. Because the legend isn't in what you did. It's in what you left behind. The silence, the blueprint, the question mark no one can answer. That's the outlaw's sequel. That's the psycho's encore. And the punchline. They'll keep feeling it long after you've stopped caring. You didn't ask for this role. They handed it to you, every lie, every plot, every underestimation. They fed the prophecy. Now you walk like a riddle carved in thunder. People don't just see you. They sense you. Those with skeletons, they can't even hold your gaze without trembling. Because deep down, they know the prophecy was written with their names in the margins. And isn't it comedy? They whisper, "Don't mess with him, don't test her, don't say their name." Too loud. You became the boogeyman they created from their own guilt. You don't need a blade. They already believe in your myth more than you do. And belief? Belief is heavier than any weapon. Now your silence isn't just silence. It's scripture. Your calm, a warning. Your presence, prophecy. You don't threaten. You exist. And that's enough to make them crumble. Because they know the legend isn't finished. It doesn't end. It multiplies every time your shadow crosses their memory. You became the outlaw's prophecy. Don't betray what you can't bury. Don't test what you can't trap. Don't gamble against someone who survived the fire and came out laughing. You're not a ghost they wish you were. You're worse. You're the echo that doesn't fade, the scripture they can't erase, the prophecy that keeps them up at night. And the prophecy says, the one you tried to bury will become the seed you can't kill. The silence you mocked will grow into thunder that rattles your windows. The name you whispered as a joke will echo like a hymn you can't escape. That's the gospel. That's the outlaw scripture, etched in scars, smirks, and the way they flinch when the door creaks. And the funniest part? You never had to preach, never had to plead. You just kept moving, silent, sharp, surgical. And now every step feels biblical to them. Every glance, scripture, every pause, judgment. They gave you divinity without knowing it, turned your survival into a psalm, your patience into a plague they can't cure. So let it be written, let it be known. The prophecy is simple. You don't chase, you don't plead, you don't threaten, you exist. And existence itself is the omen. You're not the storm they wish you were. Storms come and go. You're the climate now, permanent, inevitable, unforgiving. They prayed for your downfall, but all they did was give you immortality. They thought you'd vanish. Instead, you became the scripture they can't stop quoting, not out of love, but out of fear, out of awe, out of the realization that some people aren't meant to be understood. They're meant to be remembered. And the prophecy says, the one you tried to bury turned into the seed that ate the whole damn garden. You thought dirt would silence me? Please. I made the dirt sign a lease. Every shovel you threw was just landscaping for my empire. That's the joke. That's the punchline. You built the stage for your own funeral, and I got front row seats with popcorn. Your whispers, oh, those were precious. Every time you muttered my name like it was poison, you were just advertising me for free. That's the comedy. You turned me into folklore without asking for royalties. Now their kids grow up, hearing bedtime stories about the psycho who smiled through fire and laughed at betrayal. Congratulations. You made me immortal. And oh, how it eats you alive. Every twitch in your jaw when my shadow hits the room. Every awkward pause at dinner when someone says my name. You can't erase me. I'm branded in your nervous system like a bad tattoo. I don't even have to move. My silence has a louder laugh than your entire bloodline. You wanted a storm? Cute. Storms pass. I became the forecast. Permanent, ugly, and in your face every damn day. Rain, thunder, chaos. I set the weather now. And here's the delicious part. You prayed for my downfall. But what you really prayed for? Your own slow execution. Every night, you hear my laugh in the back of your head. Scratching, mocking, reminding you, karma doesn't come in robes. It comes grinning, with sharp teeth. That's the prophecy, written in your fear, published in your panic. And the joke? I didn't even write it. You did. You wrote it the moment you thought I'd fold. You wrote it every time you bet against me. You wrote it when you stabbed, when you lied, when you clapped with one hand and loaded the gun with the other. And now, you get to live with the scripture you authored. Call it karma, call it comedy. I just call it Tuesday. So let it echo, let it rot in your chest. The outlaw prophecy is simple. I don't chase. I don't warn. I don't even care anymore. I laugh. I watch. I glide. And your downfall? That's just my encore. And here's the sick part. You thought I wanted revenge. Revenge is cheap. Revenge is for amateurs with bad aim. I don't want your head on a stick. I want you, alive, twitching, panicking, watching me win every single day while your confidence bleeds out slow. That's the comedy. You don't die once. You die in little gasps. Every time you hear my name float through a room, you remember that grin I gave you, the one you thought was madness. Oh no, sweetheart. That was math. I calculated this ending while you were still practicing your betrayal speeches in the mirror. That's why it burns so bad now. I didn't just beat you. I let you walk yourself into the trap. And I didn't say a damn thing while you did it. Silence was the setup. Patience was the blade. And now, you can't scrub me off your conscience, no matter how hard you try. Funny, isn't it? The psycho you thought you were mocking turned out to be the surgeon cutting you apart, piece by piece, without even raising his voice. The crazy one, he became the architect of your nightmares. You don't get to erase me. You don't get to outlive me, because I already branded myself on your guilt, like fire on flesh, and that's the real punchline. You built me, every lie, every setup, every knife in the back, just another ingredient in the recipe. You cooked a monster, and now the monster is laughing at the chef. You can't take it back. You can't undo it. You can't survive me, because I'm not here to be survived. I'm here to be endured. So sit with it. Sit with the twitch in your throat every time you hear my name. Sit with the silence that feels heavier than a bullet. Sit with the prophecy you wrote in your own blood when you tried to play me. Because I'm not coming for you. I already came. I'm not threatening you. I already happened. And now I just laugh, because you thought you broke me. But all you really did was audition for the role of my favorite joke